Hey everyone, this is Lukas Schwekendiek, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about courage. You know a lot about self-improvement. You know a lot about what to do, when to do it, maybe even know the exact steps you have to take to get to where you want in life, but you're not taking them. Um, Most of the time, not because of a lack of wanting it, but rather because of a lack of courage. No matter how often I've gone through coaching and no matter how often I've coached others, courage always seems to be the limiting resource. Not necessarily courage to, the courage for success or fear of success, right? It's not about that so much as it is the courage to be willing to lose something. That's always at the core of it. Now, this will come up in very different ways. You'll have the fear of losing status, the fear of losing opportunities, the fear of losing your happiness, your relationships, a lot of different things you can lose. And when you really go out there, when you really try, when you give life your all, when you give your success your all, when you try to be happy, most of the steps what you should do. You know which steps are correct, but you lack the courage to take them. You lack the courage to say, okay, this is right for me. I'm going to do it no matter the consequences. I'm going to brave these negative things. Instead, you're afraid. You're afraid that something will not go right. You're afraid that something will miss. You're afraid that you will lose what you have. There is a quote, and if you know this quote, you're going to be a real nerd to know where this is from, but courage is the magic that turns dreams into reality. It's not so much about knowing what to do. That's part of it, for sure. Otherwise, you're just aimlessly shooting and hoping something sticks. But most of the time, it's having the courage to actually do it. Even if you don't know what to do, having the courage to do something, generally correct, even if not the perfectly right thing, is still better than doing nothing. But again, for that you have to be courageous, you have to be brave, you have to go out of your way to try something. And yes, you will likely fail. You will likely not make it. Chances are very good that somewhere, somehow, something will mess up. And that'll maybe trigger a fear response. You might be afraid that that you're going to lose what you have, or that your partner will leave you, and that you'll just make a mistake. But it's this courage that's really important. For example, let's say you know how to make more money, right? One way to make more money is to get a promotion at work. But so few people ask for a promotion or even what they would need to get a promotion. They just don't do it. They simply keep working and hoping that without much courage from their side, their boss will give them something. What if you had the courage to ask? You know this from school maybe, right? The ones that were brave enough to ask questions were usually the ones that got the most information. Sure, sometimes they were embarrassed. Sometimes they may have messed up. Sometimes they may have lost a bit of status or something else. But in large, their fear was rewarded. The courage they portrayed was rewarded. Same thing when it comes to dating. Right? You know that if you talk to more people, you'll have a higher chance of meeting the right person. If you don't talk to anyone, you're basically hoping that they'll approach you. But if you take courage to go and approach more people, to just open up a conversation, it's much more likely that you'll find the right person for you. Now that also takes courage. It takes courage to go for your business dream. It takes courage to go for love. It takes courage to open yourself up. But it's that courage in particular that will be rewarded if you use it. So let me take a look at my notes here of what else I wanted to say on this topic. Right. It's also not a lack of skill. People think that that some people just get famous. Right? The famous pianists get famous because they were lucky. The famous athletes get famous because they have skill. The famous actors get famous because they got a big break. And again, all of that is part of it, right? That does play a role, but it's not the major role. Many actors that make it really far are brave enough to embarrass themselves. They're brave enough to go for other opportunities. They're brave enough to maybe shoot a bad movie. They're brave enough to try. Most athletes are brave enough to compete. They're brave enough to train. They portray courage every time they wake up early in the morning and go work out. Because that usually comes at a cost. And every musician is also brave. Right? Everybody in the public eye is brave because they're in the public eye. Right? We don't have this problem that we can embarrass ourselves or make a mistake that everyone goes, screw you, bad person. Right? What an embarrassing thing they did. They shouldn't do this. We don't have that. So they're brave for that as well, because a lot of you, basically everybody, has something they get stuck on. Something that makes them too afraid to actually take an action step. I'm no exception, you're no exception, but if we took a step to just take a breath and go for what it is that we're afraid of, go for what it is that we know will get us further in life. If we took some courage and actually stepped towards it, life would change. For example, having the courage to send Bill Gates an email to see if he can sponsor your new project. Chances are he won't, right? Chances are that's not going to happen. But many people stop even before they take the chance. They don't stop with logic. They reason themselves out because they're afraid. But what if we actually did it? Because maybe out of 100 messages, emails you send them, maybe one of them gets a, yeah, I'll do it. And if he did that, wouldn't your money problems be kind of solved forever? Just an idea. Same thing with that person that we've been admiring for so long. What if we just took the courage to ask them out? How do we know that they don't like us? How do we know that they wouldn't say yes? How many times has someone told you later on that they liked you and you should have just asked them? How many more times are you going to make that same mistake? It's very interesting to see, it's very interesting that we're so worried about these things, that we're so afraid of something that is not even real. Right? If there's a tiger in front of you, then you can be scared, of course. But on the other hand, if there's a rustling brush, that doesn't mean a tiger will jump up, but then you already have to be afraid of the tiger. Maybe it's just a bunny rabbit. Yet we're so often afraid of something, and we often don't take the courage to look. Fair enough, if you checked every rustling brush, there might be a good chance that you encounter more tigers than the next person. It's probably where this came from. But nowadays, there's not that many things that kill you anymore. Right? There's not that many tigers hiding in brushes anymore. In fact, there's not that many rustling brushes. What are you afraid of? What do you not want to, what do you not want to do? What are you afraid of? What are you not courageous enough to take a step towards? It's time to take some courage. It's time to just say, screw it, and go and do it, regardless of how afraid you are. Don't let fear be the factor that determines where your life goes. Let it be courage. Because courage is the thing that, in the end, makes a really big difference. And it allows you opportunities to get a promotion when you ask your boss for it, or for ways to get that promotion. It gives you more knowledge as you ask questions in class. It gives you more chances to meet amazing people as you engage with other people around you. It gives you opportunities in your physical health as you take the courage to go for that extra run. You may think it has nothing to do with courage, but it has everything to do with courage. Because if you're brave enough to fail, if you're brave enough to lose, if you're brave enough to be hurt, then you're brave enough to try. And that is where the magic happens. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.